Hi, this is a video for my friend Digger420. I just wanted to talk about something that you've talked about recently in a couple of your videos with Mighty, a couple of the streams, where you've referenced something that happens in Revelation 12 about the fall of Satan. And specifically about how your understanding is that it's something that happened pre-Garden of Eden. So I just wanted to do a little Bible study on those verses and to sort of show why, in my opinion, it couldn't possibly be before the Garden of Eden. Obviously, if we have different takes on this, that's absolutely fine, but I just wanted to use the scripture and logic and sort of point out the reason why, because I think a lot of the time when people use that verse in Revelation 12, they completely miss the next bit of the chapter, which kind of disproves the idea that it was pre-Garden of Eden. So rather than have too much introduction, I'll just get straight into it. So here we have Revelation 12, and there's some various signs that happen in the heavens. I'll use air quotes heavens because heaven can refer to different things in the Bible. You've got heaven as in the air, where birds fly. The second heaven, which is space, where the sun, moon, and stars are. And then there's also the third heaven, which is God's throne room, which is often referenced like a spiritual place. It's from verse 3 is the bit that Digger references. So it says, "And another sign appeared in heaven." So another sign appeared in heaven. "Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 diadems on his heads." Now, later on, it references that this is the devil. So although it's talking about a dragon and all this, that, and the other, it's meaning the devil. We'll see that a bit later. But here we go, verse 4. So, "His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and to his throne. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God that they should feed her there 1,260 days." Okay, which is 42 biblical months. So the bit that Digger sometimes references here is the part on verse 4 that says, "His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth." Now we know from the context of other parts of this chapter and Revelation that the stars actually here are referring metaphorically to the angels, the messengers, not literal stars, because if you threw a third of the stars in our space to the earth, you'd obliterate the earth many times over, of course. So it's not talking literally about the actual stars. The stars here are referring to angels. So my first question here to Digger is, does the devil have control or power over God's angels to throw any of them to the earth? And the answer is no.
You have no power here.
So right at the start here with this bit about throwing a third of the stars down, my own take on it is that at that point he is taking a third of his own angels, the ones that have sided with him, and basically casting them to the earth, whether willingly or unwillingly, at that point. And I believe it's to do with future end time stuff, where there'll be an uptick in demonic activity on the earth. But that's another Bible study all of its own. I'm going off on a tangent here. Apologies. I want to get back to the points I'm trying to make about how this, in my opinion, can't possibly be a past event. And it comes later in the chapter. So let's see what happens after this, because I've also heard Digger refer to this particular bit about the war in heaven. So from verse 7, "And a war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon and his angels fought back. But they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer." So this is the bit where he's finally cast out. "So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." Now this is quite important. So it says there was no place found for them in heaven any longer, and they're cast to the earth. They're no longer allowed back to accuse the brethren. We'll get to that in a second. So I'll continue verse 10. "Then I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brethren, who accused them before our God day and night, has been cast down. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives to the death. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants," that's important, "inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you having great wrath, because he knows that his time is short. So within this, there's quite a lot to unpack. But there's a couple of things that shows that this event of Satan being cast down to the earth can't possibly be before the Garden of Eden. Because for a start, it says, "Rejoice, O heavens, and all you who dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for the devil has come down to you, and he has great wrath because he knows he's got a short time." So the inhabitants of the earth, if Digger's position that this happened before the Garden of Eden, then who would that be? What, just the animals? Maybe? It's like, and the whole thing about the brethren being, where is it now? There we go. For the accuser of our brethren, who accuses them before our God day and night. So who does the accuser is the devil, the adversary. It's referred to in the Bible as more as like the adversary. The word devil, not so much in the original language. But it says he accuses the brethren day and night. Now, if he's cast down to the earth before Eden, before Adam and Eve, how on earth is he accusing the brethren? Which brethren? There's no people yet, right? So again, another indication that this can't possibly be pre-Garden of Eden, this thing that's going on. I'm very much of the opinion that this is a future event to do with end times, and that the short time that gives the devil the wrath when he realizes he's cast to the earth and he can no longer go before the throne and accuse us, I believe that's the last 42 months before the second coming of Christ. But that's my personal take on this. So we go back to this thing about the third. It seems a bit odd. He threw a third of them, the devil, with his tail to the earth. But then after that, a war broke out with the angels. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon and his angels, but they did not prevail. So that's when Satan is cast out. It says, and his angels were cast out with him. So at that point, all of the demonic entities, Satan and all of his angels, are thrown to the earth. Now, I believe this is going to happen in the end times, when there'll be all sorts of craziness on the earth, because literally Satan and all of his angels are then cast to the earth, and they can't get back at that point. They can't go back. And so, just to give some more context about this whole idea of the devil being able to go to God's throne room and accuse the brethren, we actually see a glimpse of this in the book of Job. I'll just have a quick look for that now. I have to search book of Job rather than just Job, otherwise it thinks I'm looking for a job. And I'm quite happy with my job. I'm not looking for a job. Right. Okay, so if we look at this bit, it's quite early on in the book of Job. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered, "Lord, from roaming through the earth, going back and forth on it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him," and then so on and so forth. But what I'm trying to get at here is that the angels come to present themselves before the Lord. So this is the spiritual place where God is, and Satan also came with them. So Satan's not barred from heaven. Okay, and it also says, he says he came when God asks him, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered, "From roaming through the earth, going back and forth on it." So he's come from the earth to God's throne room. And in Revelation, it says that he accuses the brethren to God day and night. So Satan has the ability to go on the earth, around the earth, and also to God's throne room to accuse us, to accuse the brethren of the things that we're doing, about our sin, whatever it is that he accuses us of. On that note, by the way, it's not saying that the devil is wrong when he's accusing us, because he'll be accusing us of stuff that we have done. But with our advocate is Jesus, in the sort of courtroom type scenario where he just sort of says, "Yeah, I paid for that. It's irrelevant. I paid that fine. Yeah, yes, it's true. He's guilty. My client is guilty, but I paid the fine." So it can be thrown out, Judge. Anyway, sorry, going off on a tangent. I'm just trying to think if I've covered all the bases here, Digger. But it was just to show it that from Revelation 12, if we just take that one scripture. Unfortunately, a lot of preachers just take that one little bit on verse 4, I think it was, and sort of say, look, this is when a third of the angels went with Satan. And it's like, that's not what it says. It says that Satan cast a third of the stars, but is it referring to his angels rather than all of them? I mean, that's debatable. But the timing of it, in my opinion, can't possibly be before the Garden of Eden, because of all the things that come after, which explain after this. woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for the devil's been cast down to you. Well, what inhabitants of the earth if it's pre-Eden? But also in the book of Job, where Satan is appearing in front of God again, and there's a whole barter going on about Job. Well, that was post-Eden. That was a long time after the Garden of Eden. Mankind has already sinned at that point. There's been lots of people on the earth. There's Job, his wife, his sons. There's a whole civilization going on, and so that can't possibly be after Satan is cast to the and bound to the earth, as in Revelation 12. So, like with everything, though, obviously don't take my word for it. We are to be like the Bereans and test everything in the Scripture and against everything we've been taught and say, does this line up with Scripture? Does it not? I'm just some weird ginger guy. You have your own opinions, but obviously, like you would say, Digger, as well, I'm sure you would agree with this. Do your own research, do your own due diligence, have a look at the Scriptures and see what you think. But yeah, it's just I thought I'd address this because I've heard you say a few times in live streams about your understanding about Revelation 12 verse 4 being in the past, and I would sort of say, going by the Scripture, I don't see that it possibly could be anything other than a future event. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts. If you've got if you've got a different take on it, yeah, let me know. I quite like interactions and discussions on this kind of topic. Mikey, if you're watching, I hope you enjoyed this video too, and loving your current streams with Digger, and look forward to more of them. So, right, see you later. Bye.